we go. Hi there, everybody. Carson Meredith with you once again on this Sunday night. It's 7:15. It's time to talk weather. It's time to talk snow. Yes, snow appears to be on the way. Likely our first accumulating snow of the season, it appears. And there could be a nice little thumping of snow in a few spots. So we are going to spend virtually all of our time together tonight talking about what lies ahead over the next 36 hours. All right. By now, you've probably seen our snowfall map. We'll dive deeper into that. We'll explain the bust potential with this system because, yes, there are still some potential for this thing to bust, and we'll explain how and why. And then we'll go to the end of the 10-day earliest alert because it stays pretty busy, even beyond tomorrow night and Tuesday. So briefly, before we get into our setup for tomorrow night and Tuesday, we just want to mention what's happening tonight. It's cold. That's really all you need to know. We did have a few breaks in the clouds today, especially south of the Ohio River, which was nice. A little bit of a surprise, but I don't think we'll complain too much about it. We're at 30 right now. That wind's still pretty, it's not as blustery as earlier, but it's still pretty consistent, around 10 to 15 miles an hour. It should subside as the night goes on, which means it's going to get cold quick. 24, our forecast low tonight. We'll keep mostly cloudy skies. There might be a few breaks, especially further south, but in general, the clouds will hold tough. It'll be a very cold start to the day on Monday. Hopefully not a big wind chill, but even so, you got to really bundle up heading out the door tomorrow. All right. Now we get into tomorrow night and Tuesday. The wave weather alert day is still in place. Before we get into this conversation, a warning to all those trolls out there. I've been watching it today. You will be ignored over the next half hour to 45 minutes. I'm only taking legitimate questions and kind words over the next little bit. So let's just give you the general rundown of where things stand. There's no significant changes to the impacts with this system. That's why the alert day is still in place. We are still on track to see a mixed bag of everything starting tomorrow evening, maybe as early as this time tomorrow evening, 7, 8 o'clock. And it truly is going to be a mixed bag. If you're watching us down near Campbellsville, you're going to be seeing rain. If you're in Louisville, you might get some sleet pellets, maybe some freezing rain for a time. If you're up towards Seymour, you'll see mostly snow out of this. So it's truly going to be a little bit of everything at the onset of this event. But as the night goes on, and we get past midnight tomorrow night especially, that colder air will start to move in. It's marginal, is that cold air. That's a big, big bust potential that we got to keep an eye on. But as that colder air moves in, we will eventually see that transition from a cold rain or a mix to all snow for at least a few hours overnight tomorrow night. For snow lovers, that's a really good time frame to get a snow like this, right? Don't be surprised if you go to bed tomorrow night, look out the window, and say, oh my God, Carson was wrong again. There's nothing on the ground. We're not expecting to see much in the way of accumulations until after midnight tomorrow night. So it's a narrow window to get those accumulations, but based on the data I've been looking at today, talking with the rest of the team, we're fairly confident there will be accumulations in parts of wave country, which in turn will obviously cause travel issues for the Tuesday morning drive. That's really the big reason why our alert day is still in place. Now, for the moment, there are no winter weather alerts in wave country. I guarantee you that is going to change. Overnight tonight, in fact, the Weather Service has already said they are going to put out a winter weather advisory tonight, likely overnight tonight while you guys are sleeping. The reason they're holding off for now, they want to look over the evening data, fair, so that they can get a more specific idea of who to include and who not to include. Now, you do notice the Paducah office has already issued their advisory for Owensboro, Henderson, Madisonville, Hopkinsville. No, Hopkinsville's not in it. Never mind. But Western Kentucky is already under a winter weather advisory. And I do expect that to get expanded eastward tonight. Who's going to be in the advisory? Who's not? I don't know. The Weather Service is going to look at that overnight. If you made me kind of give you a general idea of who's in the advisory, I think a lot of us will be. Definitely along the Ohio River. That's kind of the ballpark area I'm looking at to see the advisory come out for tonight. All right. I fully expect Louisville to be under the winter weather advisory. Okay. It's not out right now. They want to look over more data that comes in this evening, which is totally fair. And you'll see it pop up, the winter weather advisory, on all of our social platforms once it's issued overnight tonight. Let's start off talking about tomorrow, because during the day on Monday, there's no issues at all. It's just going to be cold and mostly cloudy, basically like it was today. There'll be a little more cloud cover, though. As we get into tomorrow afternoon, we'll start to see that moisture move in from the west. Initially, from about 4, 5, 6 p.m. until midnight, we're mainly going to be dealing with a mix of everything. And I'll break down who sees what in a second. But you see those chances for precipitation, just blanket call it that. Those chances steadily go up through the night, through the evening. And it's not until after midnight tomorrow night when we start to see accumulating snow. It's going to take a while. You may go to bed tomorrow night not seeing a lick of snow on the ground. The roads are just wet. And you're thinking this is a complete bust. It's not. Most of the snow is going to fall after midnight tomorrow night. And what's also unique about this system is it's a quick mover. It's a very quick system. So you may go to bed Monday night at about, 11 o'clock. Nothing. You wake up Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. There's snow on the ground. The roads are a little dicey. And the snow has stopped. So again, it's a very narrow window to see that snow late tomorrow night. Before midnight, it's a mix of everything. After midnight tomorrow night, we begin that transition to all snow everywhere in Wave Country. Everybody is going to see snow at some point. For some of you, you'll see mostly snow the entire time. For some of you, however, you will not see much snow at all except for right at the tail end of the event. Okay? Let's start off with tomorrow evening. So this time tomorrow evening, this is the general look of what you're going to be seeing on radar in the Wave Weather app and outside your window. Let's go from south to north. Southern Kentucky, down near Mumfordville, Greensburg, Campbellsville, Columbia, Lebanon, up towards Springfield too, Hodgenville, Sonora. You will be seeing mostly just a plain cold rain tomorrow evening, all right? Where that warmer air is still trying to hold on. Further north, right along the Ohio River, including the city of Louisville, up towards LaGrange, Eminence, Newcastle, Frankfort, Shelbyville, Taylorsville, Bardstown, Shepherdsville, E-Town, Brandenburg, Hardinsburg, Litchfield. That's going to be the zone to watch for that wintry mix. So if you live between the Ohio River and the Kentucky Parkways, you're going to see a little bit of everything. You're going to see a cold rain at first, maybe a little freezing rain. It shouldn't be enough to cause any ice issues, I don't think. Then a little bit of sleet. And then it won't be until later in the night when you start to see that snow. Where that battle line, where this mixed battle line eventually settles, will basically be the cutoff for the heaviest snow versus not as much, because it'll take a while for that transition to occur, right? Finally, further to the north, over most of southern Indiana, Jasper, Paoli, Bedford, Seymour, North Vernon, Madison, Scottsburg, Salem, you guys will see mostly snow. That doesn't mean you're going to see all snow. It just means you're going to see mostly snow. Few sleet pellets may still mix in. You may even have a few raindrops at the onset. But as the evening unfolds, the snow is going to win out because some of that colder air is deeper further to the north and west. So this is where we start things off Monday evening. All right. Start off with a mess, to be honest with you. But again, the night unfolds. We start to see those temperatures drop closer to freezing. I do think we dip below freezing in most spots. Not by much, but I do think we will. And as a result, we get into late tomorrow night and early Tuesday. And you notice nearly all of Wave Country at some point or another will be seeing all snow. This would be more of a look of the radar after midnight tomorrow night. Again, I can't emphasize it enough. Most of the accumulations will be after midnight tomorrow night, not necessarily earlier in the evening. Now, the further south you are, mainly across central Kentucky, down near the parkways, Lebanon, Campbellsville, Columbia, you guys down this way are not going to see that snow quite as long as your friends further up to the north. Obviously, the longer that snow sticks around, the more it's going to accumulate, right? And you'll see, obviously, further to the east, that's where that cold rain and that mixture will slide as the night unfolds. All right? And I see all your comments. We'll get there towards the end, okay? Here's Futurecast, all right? 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, so basically 24 hours from now. Again, a little bit of everything. At first, could start off as cold rain, especially further south. Let's keep going. Here's 11 o'clock Monday night. We talked about southern Indiana. You guys seeing mostly snow? Well, here you go. Around 11 o'clock in the evening, we're seeing mostly snow up near Bedford, up near Seymour, maybe a few sleet pellets mixed in. Salem, Paoli, Jasper, Scottsburg, Madison, mostly snow. Further to the south, a little bit of everything. Some greens, some pinks, some blues. That's where you're going to have that window for a cold rain, freezing rain maybe. But again, don't get too stressed about ice. I'm not worried about ice. Not too worried about that at all. Sleet pellets, snowflakes, that particular area between Louisville and E-Town and Bardstown is where the mix will be sticking around for most of the evening. And then finally, our far southern counties, down towards BG, Bowling Green, Mumfordville, Campbellsville, Columbia, still a cold rain. Then we get after midnight. There's the shift. But again, look how long it takes for that mix and cold rain further south to move out. That's going to cut down on snow totals down that way. So if you live south of the parkways, sorry, you're not going to see as much snow this go around, I'm afraid. But by 2 o'clock Tuesday morning, according to the HRRR model, which is what I'm showing you tonight, it's got a widespread thumping of snow across most of the area, especially north of the Kentucky parkways. And there's a possibility that within that big snow shield, if you will, there could be some heavier banding takes place. And that's where the potential for some slightly higher accumulations will also come into play. When you see the snowfall map in a second, you're going to see a range of X inches to Y inches. Most of you will be on the lower end of those ranges. Okay? Just keep that in mind. So 2 o'clock Tuesday morning, Louisville looks to be in a decent bit of snow, maybe some heavier bands potentially. While south of the parkways, we're still trying to get that mix or cold rain out of here. Let's keep going. This is 4 a.m. Tuesday morning. Still snowing. I will tell you this has trended a teeny tiny bit slower today by like an hour or two. But that could obviously have a huge impact on the Tuesday morning rush hour, right? So 4 a.m., generally speaking, nearly all of us are in a snow setup. Most of it will be on the light to moderate end, but where you see some of these darker blues, and don't take these darker blue bands to gospel. It's not exact. It's just giving you a general idea. But where you see some of these darker colors, that's where you could get some heavier banding take place. And that's where you're going to get some of those higher snow totals, right? So that's 4 a.m. And then we get to 9 a.m. and it's all gone. So again, a very narrow window for this snowfall to accumulate, which could potentially impact the numbers at the end of the day. Let me back it up to 7 a.m. You notice by 7 a.m. Tuesday morning here in the metro, there could still be a few flurries flying around. I do believe, however, by the rush hour itself, Tuesday, the snow is done. The question will just be, what kind of a mess did it leave on the roads? There will still be some snow going on in our far southern counties by 7 a.m. Tuesday morning. But again, by about 9, just a few flurries, if anything. And we may see some clearing as the day goes on Tuesday, but I think it just stays mostly cloudy and cold again. All right. So here you go. This is the graphic I know y'all care about based on what I've seen on social media today. And I'm going to refine this once I look over the data this evening. There is going to be, based on the current forecast, a decent swath across wave country that sees 2 to generally 3 inches of snow. Again, like I talked about, where you see these ranges. So if you're in Louisville and you see you're in the 2 to 4 zone, keep in mind that doesn't mean you're absolutely going to see 4 inches of snow. It means you could see anywhere between 2 to 4. Oops, got too excited there. In most cases with this setup, it's going to be on the lower end of those ranges. So if you're in that darker blue shade, you're looking more closer to the 2 to 3 inch range. All right. This would include Louisville as it stands. This would include Jeffersonville, Madison, Scottsburg, Corydon, Brandenburg, Hardinsburg, Shepherdsville, Shelbyville, Frankfort, LaGrange, Carrollton. Now, being very, very transparent here, I am not as confident in seeing those higher snowfall totals along the Kentucky parkways because of what we talked about. That mix may take a while to move out of E-Town and move out of Bardstown and move out of Litchfield. So I could certainly see a scenario where I have to trim up this darker blue zone to where we see only 1 to 2 inches at best down near the parkways. I could certainly see that happening as we look over more data tonight. I'm more confident in seeing those higher totals closer to the Ohio River, including here in Louisville, okay, and along I-71. So here in the city, here in Corydon, up in the Knobs, Clark County, Oldham County, I'm more confident in seeing a solid 2, maybe 3 inches of snow. The 4-inch amounts are going to come into play if we get that heavier banding, okay? If we get that heavier banding, then we could certainly see a few isolated spots get closer to 4 inches. I think anything over 4 inches is pretty unlikely at this point. That threat will be further north and east into Ohio, okay? So the big question mark is still how things play out along the parkways right here. I could certainly see a scenario where I had to lower the snow totals further south. Speaking of further south, if you're down towards Lebanon, Mumfordville, Campbellsville, Columbia, you guys aren't going to see a ton of snow. You will. It's just only going to last 3 or 4 hours. But it still may be enough to get a quick inch, maybe inch and a half early Tuesday morning down your way. And further to the north and west, up near Bedford and Seymour, you also notice kind of this little dry slot that develops up towards that far northwest corner of our area. That's because this is kind of it's basically a phasing setup right on top of us. There's going to be a stream of disturbance right to our north, embedded within the trough, and you're going to have a low pressure develop to the south. And those two features are going to try to phase right on top of us. But as a result, there's always going to be a tiny little dryer slot that develops close to that phase point. And that's why we've got some slightly lower forecast amounts up near Bedford and Seymour. So it's kind of the heart of wave country that has the best shot to see around 2 to 3 inches of snow, generally speaking. Some 4-inch amounts can't be ruled out if we get that heavier banding develop after midnight tomorrow night. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. It's a very tricky setup. Now, a lot of you are going to ask, okay, what may cause this to completely bust? Well, obviously it has to do with that warmer air. If that mix sticks around longer down near the parkways, that will cut down on snow totals, obviously. If that cold rain holds on further south, that'll cut down on totals. And this is a very marginal setup with those temperatures. So, yes, I do think we go below freezing, but it might be just 30 degrees or 31 degrees. So, if that's off by 1 degree or 2, then it's a whole different ballgame, unfortunately. That could really shave off those snow totals big time. This will continue to be adjusted, guys. This is not our final forecast. Heck, this is our first forecast. So a lot of adjustments, a lot of fine-tuning ahead. But I'm almost certain that we will see our first accumulating snow of the season, which is always exciting. And it's earlier this year, right? So if you guessed early on the snowfall contest, it looks like you might be in luck this go around. I'm going to let that map sit, and I'm going to do my best to look through 20 minutes worth of comments to answer your questions. And we'll get some shout outs in here too. Here we go. Anita says hello, hoping for no snow. Well, there's going to be some snow, Anita. I'm afraid, at least for your sake, it sounds like. Storm Chaser Jason's here. Kathy's here. DJ King, how you doing? Joshua is here. James, hello. Braden, hi. Gary up in Pewee Valley, eagerly awaiting the prognostication, right? Caleb, what do you think about Louisville? I think Louisville is in that solid 2 to 3 inch range. And again, when you see the 4-inch total on the map here, for us, that's particularly when it comes to that banding that may develop. Those heavier bands, they always like to develop in these kind of setups. And that's where you can get some isolated 4-inch amounts here or there. Let's see. James is excited. Angela says bots. Shonda's here. Mr. Leo on YouTube, how long do you think this will stick? Good question. It depends on how long we stay below freezing. And again, we're not going to fall into the mid-20s Tuesday morning. We're only going to fall to around 29 or 30. So if we're able to get back up to 34 or 35 Tuesday afternoon, then we may start to see some melting. I don't think they'll be sticking around too terribly long, but it'll be, the timing's bad, guys. You know, the snow moves in overnight. We're at the coldest point of the day in the morning when everybody's trying to get to work, trying to get to school. And that's when we're going to have the most road issues, unfortunately. I do think the roads will improve pretty quickly, though, into Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday night. It's just Tuesday morning that's going to be tricky. Good question. All righty. Keep on going. Adam, hello. Looks like December 2nd might be the winning date. Yeah, especially if all that snow falls after midnight in Louisville, which I think it will for the most part. This is going to be back and forth. Just make a decision, Mother Nature. No kidding. No kidding. Amanda down in Bardstown. Hello. How about the roads down your way? Well, again, Amanda, for you guys in particular, it depends on how long that mix is around. If you guys see more of that rain snow mix, there will be slick spots, yes, but it may still be drivable. Now, I do think you guys down in Bardstown will eventually see some snow. So it's going to accumulate. The roads are going to be dicey Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, though, I'm hopeful it would improve by that point. Let's see. Quincy's watching up in Washington and Clark County. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Adam, predicting the airport will get 1 inch of snow. I agree. I do agree. I think somebody's going to win our snow contest Tuesday as it stands. Schools Tuesday. As I've always said, I don't comment on that because we don't make those calls. What I will say is that the roads could be dicey Tuesday morning. There could be slick spots. And if we see 2 to 3 inches of snow, it'll be a slow go Tuesday morning. Will it be undrivable? No. But it could be a slow go, certainly. And that's up to each individual district as far as what their bus routes look like. Because a lot of bus routes, as you guys know, are through subdivisions and secondary roads that don't get treated in snow very often. Let's see here. Got a scammer, of course. What else is new? Let's see. James up in Bedford. How are we looking up there? I think Bedford has a solid shot to see 2 to 3 inches out of this. I really do. That colder air will be arriving in Bedford a little bit earlier than, let's say, Shelbyville or Taylorsville. So, yeah, I think a couple inches of snow are a good bet up your way, James. Sean wants some snow money from plowing. If we get 2 to 3 inches of snow, that'll be enough to at least do some shoveling. Maybe not getting the big plows out necessarily. But maybe if kids have a snow day on Tuesday, of course, snow days are a thing of the past anymore, but maybe make a little money on the kids around the neighborhood doing some driveway shoveling. Angela's going to be up at 2 or 3 Tuesday morning to see what's going on. I don't blame you. Let's see. Any wind? Not really, Braden. Good question. Not as blustery as today, thankfully. Maybe around 10, 15 miles an hour. I don't think we have to worry about whiteout conditions or anything like that. Let's see. Let's keep going here. Look at all that pretty dark blue around Radcliffe. Yeah, the darker blue color obviously means the higher snowfall totals, right? Jason from Orange County. Yeah, Orange County is going to be right on the line. We talked about that dry slot that's going to try to move into that northwest corner of our area. And you guys up in Orange County, Jason, are going to be right on that edge. I think for you guys, probably as it stands, I don't want to sound so, locked in on these ideas because it's obviously going to fluctuate. But right now, I'd say around 2 inches for Orange County. Maybe a slightly lower amount up towards French Lick and maybe a slightly higher amount south of Paoli. Hopefully that makes sense, Jason. Appreciate you watching. Just enough to make travel a mess. Yeah, unfortunately so. And that's the main reason the alert day is out, obviously, is when you get these kind of low end snows, these 1, 2, 3 inch snows, that's honestly when we had the most trouble because a lot of you guys still try to get to work. And y'all know that people can't drive anymore, even when it's sunny. So we'll probably have some road issues Tuesday morning. Katie says, keep the snow away. I'm having a baby next Thursday. Well, congratulations, Katie. By Thursday, we'll be fine. We'll be all good. Campbellsville, Beverly's asking. Campbellsville, not going to see a ton of snow, probably around an inch, maybe an inch and a half. You guys will start off with a cold rain, and it won't be until late in the night before you see that transition to snow. So that's why your snowfall totals down near Campbellsville will be a little bit lower. The bus potential. The bus potential is still there, guys, especially if that nose of warm air holds on longer. And by warm air, I mean if it's still raining and if it's still sleeting, that will absolutely cut down on these snow totals significantly. The cold air is eventually going to win out, but if it wins out too late, that's where you might have that bus come into play. I think there's a greater bus concern south of the parkways, along and south of the Kentucky Parkway. So Litchfield, E-Town, Bardstown, south. Move that 4 to 6 down to Louisville. I don't see it at this point. I think the really big snow totals will be up towards Ohio, not here. Let's see. How much do you think we're going to get this coming weekend? Tanya asked. Tanya, I'll be honest with you. I haven't really spent a ton of time on this weekend because I've been so focused on this setup. But there are a couple of smaller, faster systems moving in towards the end of the 10-day. Might give us a rain snow chance again. Sherry needs to get rid of me. Well, Sherry, I'm going to have to decide if I need to call the cops on you for that. All right. Amy, so what I'm hearing is the roads are going to be garbage Tuesday morning in Bardstown with the mix and then the snow. Is it going to be undrivable, Amy? No. Is it going to be tricky? Yes. If you got to head out Tuesday morning, just pack your patience. No doubt. Trace, yeah, that sums it up best. Whatever. All right. Sorry, hopefully I'm not boring you guys. I just want to make sure I answer as many questions as I can because everybody's so excited. Natalie, good question. Could there be snow squalls in these individual bands overnight? Well, snow squalls are a tiny bit different in the sense that they are just by themselves. You know what I mean? They're not within a bigger shield of snow all the time. So these are just going to be these bands of snow that are just heavier. Are they whiteout conditions like snow squalls? I don't see that this go round. So I'm not overly worried about snow squalls. I'm just worried about these slightly heavier rates of snow from time to time. I don't think we're talking about whiteouts or anything. Hopefully that makes sense for you, Natalie. Good question. Let's see. Again, talking about schools. I'm not going to say anything about Tuesday. If there's any issues on Wednesday, it would be a black ice potential with any roads that had melting Tuesday afternoon, refreezing. And that is a possibility that we'll have to keep an eye on. Let's see. Jacob just joined, leaves work around 4 a.m. from Litchfield going to E-Town. Jacob, I'm afraid you're going to be driving to work during the heaviest snow down that way. So be careful. Be very, very careful, especially on the WK Parkway. It's never fun. I don't like driving that thing when it's sunny. All right. A few more comments, and then I'll show you the 10-day, and I'll stop talking. David, is there a scenario where we could get more than 3 inches of snow? There is if there's banding. I do not see a scenario where we get widespread 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of snow. I don't think that's going to happen. If we do get anything more than 3 inches, it's going to be with any bands, and a lucky few could get 3.5, 4 inches. I think the generally widespread amounts will be around 2, maybe 3. And again, on these ranges, you see we're really focused on the lower end of that range in most spots. Good question. Rebecca, start time for Crestwood. Yeah, so you guys are closer to the river, so it won't be until after midnight tomorrow night, Rebecca, before we see that transition to all snow up in Oldham County. Again, during the day tomorrow, no issues at all. It's not until after sunset when things could get a little dicey. Susie, sleet potential in the metro. Yeah, I do think there will be some sleet. Louisville's going to be in that zone initially tomorrow evening where it's a little bit of everything. Cold rain, maybe some freezing rain. I wouldn't fret about that. And then some sleet before we eventually go to all snow. Hey, look who's watching. What up, Be Good? I can't believe you're asking that question. I don't even know. What is it? 6.5 months? June? Obviously, Brian will be here with Snow Talk in the morning. He'll do a lot better job explaining this than I will. But yeah, we're all watching it, no doubt. Let's see here. Few more. Gosh, there's so many comments to look through. But that's a good thing. Let's see. Good evening. Hello, hello. Do you think we get a winter weather advisory? Yes, we will get one overnight. We will get a winter weather advisory. I don't know exactly who's going to be in that advisory, but quite a few of our counties will be. I don't see this getting to a winter storm. No, I do not see that. It's just going to be an advisory at this point. I'm getting to the end of the comments. I'm getting there. All right. We all good? I think we're good. And if I miss your comment, I apologize. There's literally hundreds, if not thousands of them I just had to read through. So appreciate the kind words, Shonda, Adam. You guys are the best. Y'all are always here. I appreciate it. Probably. Be Good. Can you confirm? You have a big smile on your face right now at home? Looked like he was hanging out at Menards earlier. Wonder if he bought that chair. All right. So that's where we stand, guys. Jason dreaming of a white Christmas. You know what, Jason, if there's ever going to be a year that we have one, this might be it. Here comes the 10-day. Hey, we got a break Wednesday. Had one system last night. Got tomorrow night and Tuesday. And now we get a little break Wednesday. There is a weak front moving through early Thursday. Doesn't have a ton of moisture with it. I've got a 10% chance for a few flakes in there. Shouldn't be a big deal. You get into the rest of the 10-day, and it's honestly looking more and more like Clipper land, where you get these little clippers coming out of Canada just zipping by one by one, especially next week. Friday, not as much of a clipper. It'll be another setup where we may have a southern low. Will be a little warmer, so it may not have as much cold air to work with, but there's going to at least be that chance for some sort of a rain-snow mix potentially on Friday. And then into next weekend and beyond, we get into Clipper land, where we could have little bouts of flakes from time to time. But it's really tomorrow night and Tuesday that has our biggest attention, obviously. 80s win. Probably April. Sorry. Maybe get one lucky day in March where we hit 80, but that's a long ways off. A long ways off. All right, guys. Any last second comments, questions, thoughts before we go? Thanks for keeping it civil, except for Sherry, whoever she got something out for me. Yeah, whatever. But I appreciate the other 99% of you that enjoyed our conversation tonight. See, want to go sledding? This will be right on the border of good sledding weather. I think if you get 2 to 3 inches of snow, that's just enough. Just enough. If you only get if you only get 1.5 inches, it's not the best. You get to 2 to 3, that's pretty good. Adam, moisture ratio, it's a drier snow. It's a drier one, especially further north. Might be a little bit of a wetter snow further south, where you got some of that moisture in play. A little bit more, at least. Austin got one last good question here. Wednesday morning. Again, that would be a black ice issue, if we have any, where some of the main roads especially may have melted a little bit Tuesday afternoon. You notice on the 10-day, we go back into the 20s Tuesday night. Then you could have some black ice develop in a few spots, potentially. So we'll watch that. But beyond Wednesday morning, I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be in good shape. All right, guys. That's all I got. Sorry to keep you for 45 minutes, but hopefully it all made sense. And let's have some fun with it. Yeah, Tuesday morning, the roads are going to be a little dicey, but it's always cool to wake up to snow. And let's hope that a lot of us do get to wake up to some snow Tuesday morning. All right, guys, that's it. It's football night. What do we got tonight? We got the Broncos and the Commanders. Not the best game, but we hope you watch, and we hope you'll watch us on Wave News after that game ends. I hope we start at 11:45. But they like to ramble, so it might be closer to midnight. But if you're still awake, we invite you to tune in. I'll have an updated snowfall map for you after football tonight. Then obviously the rest of the crew will be here tomorrow to get you through our first snow of the season, for the most part, our first accumulating snow. And Be Good will be here with Snow Talk in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week. Enjoy the snow, and I'll talk to you later.